we are in the QBO gym, and this is where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Each month covers a variety of new topics and scenarios, and to make it a little bit easier for you, we break it down into 4 different sections. So if you are looking to work on your bookkeeping skills, this is the place for you. And if you want to do an entire month's worth of these all on your own, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. But let's go ahead and get into today's exercise, which is being pulled from our November Year 1 cooldown section. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what is going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive pre-assessment quiz that relates to that video up above. Below that are the exercises in this section. And at the bottom here is an optional area where after you have gone through all of the exercises in this section, you will unlock some sample marketing posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everyone what you have learned so far. So let's get into today's exercise where we're going to practice using the cash flow planner. Go ahead and click on that link to have the exercise come up for you. I have it here on the right side of my screen, so let's read through the scenario. Craig doesn't really see how QBO can help him plan for the future. A tool that Craig might find helpful is the cash flow planner. We're going to see below for the full scenario. But first, you will need to be in the sample company to do this exercise. If you are not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link in the description. I have the sample company here on the left side of my screen. This is the dashboard and what it will look like when you sign in. Now, as mentioned above, Craig doesn't really see how QBO can help him plan for the future. A tool that Craig might find helpful is the Cash Flow Planner. The Cash Flow Planner allows you or Craig to add predicted future data and view charts based on different scenarios without actually affecting the books. It uses 3 types of data from your books, transactions that are based on actual data in QBO, predicted data, which are the anticipated transactions based on historical behavior and upcoming transactions, and then added by you, which reflects transactions you have manually added in the tool, but not in the books. So we're going to take a look and get started with the exercise. To get there, we want to first click on the Planner tab, which is right here from the home page. Click on Planner. And if this is your first time in this area, you'll get this pop-up. This has some video and information from QBO. We're just going to go ahead and click on Start Planning. And then you should get one more that looks just like this. Just go ahead and click on Let's Go. Now, the number that appears prominently right here is the current bank total, not the QBO total, of all connected bank accounts. Because it is an accurate representation of what's happening at the bank, this number will not change unless or until the bank itself has different data. You will also see this number when processing bank transactions. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. On the left navigation bar, we're going to click on Bank Transactions, which is over here on the left side. Click on that. If you happen to get any pop-ups like this, just go ahead and click out of them by clicking on the X. This was only going to show your first time in the banking center, and it's just QBO giving you extra information about this area. When processing bank fees, QBO always shows you both the actual balance at the bank and the balance of your connected accounts in QBO. These two numbers are rarely the same because you will always be recording things in QBO before they actually come through at the bank. In the sample company, the bank balance of the checking account is negative. You can see that right here. However, this almost never will be the case in a real-life scenario. So now that you understand where the number is coming from, let's go back to the planner. So from the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over dashboards and then select planner. So this is the left navigation bar, hover over dashboards, select planner. And now we're back to where we were. Now, the important part of the cash flow planner is the graphic representation of the increase and decrease of the bank balance over time. This shows the solid portion shows the past right here. The line represents today, and then the shaded portion shows the predicted or projected future. The default is to look at a year's worth of data, but since there is not a whole year's worth of data, in the sample company, we're going to just change this to the last 3 months. So just below the number right here where it says 12 months, click on the down arrow and then select 3 months. And that just shows a little bit closer look at the data that is here in the sample company. Now you can use your cursor to hover over any date in the graph to see actual historical activity or the projected future activity on that day. Projected future activity is based on historical repeated behavior, so it will be more accurate the longer you have used QBO. And it has any scheduled reoccurring transactions that you have set up. In addition, QBO will assume that an invoice or bill will be paid on the day they are due. You'll take a deeper look at this in future steps. The current view is the cash balance view, which shows the bank account balance relative to zero or another threshold value that you can set. You will look at the threshold a little bit later here in this exercise. You can also see the money in and money out values relative to each other. So let's go ahead and do that by clicking on money in and money out. And here you can see for the last couple of months. You will see that the previous month is solid colors, but the current month is partially solid and partially shaded here. And this is reflecting the fact that there are still transactions projected for this month. You could use your cursor to hover over any month in the graph to see the actual historical activity, past months, or the projected future activity, current and future months. So feel free to go ahead and do that if you would like. For the remainder of the exercise, though, we are going to be looking at the cash balance view. So let's go back to that by clicking on that tab. All right, so then under the main graphic, the next section shows that there are 13 overdue transactions. So if I scroll down here, we see that right here. As mentioned previously, QBO assumes that invoices and bills will be paid on the day they are due. If they are not, then QBO can't use them in the historical numbers, and it can't use them in projections either because it doesn't know when they are expected to be paid. You can enter these projections manually, though. Entering these predicted dates does not affect your actual books. Just remember, this is all hypothetical here. That's the power of the cash flow planner. You get to enter hypothetical situations and see what would happen. So watch what happens when you update the overdue transactions as being paid. Let's go ahead and click on update here. And then let's click on the first one here for Cookies by Kathy. Go ahead and click on that. You'll have to click on the down arrow to have it open up here. Now, the cash flow planner allows you to see how it would affect the bank balance if Kathy paid her invoice at some point in the future. For now, say that Kathy will pay her invoice at the end of this month. So in the date field, we're going to type a lowercase t for today and then a lowercase h for the last day of the month. H is the end of the word month, which is why you would type the t and then the h. Note that you must enter a date in the future. If you are doing this exercise on the last day of the month, you will need to enter the last day of next month. So click on the calendar icon in that instance and navigate to the correct date. But if you're not doing this on the last day of the month, just go ahead and click into it and type a lowercase t and then h, and it will automatically go to the last day of the current month. Go ahead and click on update. And now that one has disappeared. Let's go ahead and check how this has affected the graph. So go ahead and click on done. And then if we scroll back up here, you'll notice that the timeline shows the projected deposit you just made, but it's such a small number that it's hard to see the difference on this graphic. So let's update the other overdue transactions. Once again, we're going to click on update. And we're going to follow those same steps to do the same thing, follow those steps for the remaining 12 overdue transactions. So let's go ahead and do that. Just click on the down arrow next to each one and then go into the date field and type a lowercase t and h, select update, and just keep doing that for each of these until we get through all of the overdue transactions. And I am almost through. And again, if you are doing this on the last day of the month, you're going to have to click on the calendar icon each time in order to get the last day of the next month. And if you don't want to do the shortcut way, you can absolutely click on the calendar icon. I'll do that for my last one. And then just select the last day of the month. It's a little more time to do it that way, but totally your preference. All right, so once you have done that and you go back to the graph, you will see that the projected cash balance is now starting to be green, indicating a positive balance. Hover over the last day of the month to see the totals of all of the transactions you have processed. So the last day of the month would be right here. Now, the next section of the cash flow planner is the list of transactions that affect future projections. These are the ones that are currently expected to hit the books, but you can remove them to see what kind of an effect they would have on the bank balance. So, say for example, that Craig thinks he can negotiate the bill from Diego down to $100. You can make the change to see what would happen. So if I scroll down here, let's look at this bill or from Diego's. Let's go ahead and click on the down arrow. You could also use filters to only show certain transactions on the list so that you can decide which ones you want to adjust, and you would use that filter icon right here. So in the amount field, we're going to update this amount to $100, which is pretty impressive to negotiate that from $750 to $100, and then go ahead and click on update. Now remember, this is just for planning purposes. Your changes here do not actually affect Craig's books. So we're going to scroll up here, and as you can see, not having to pay that huge bill would significantly affect Craig's balance by this green being even higher up. In addition to adjusting the upcoming transactions that are already in the books, you can use the planner to add new ones. So what would it look like if Craig landed that $20,000 contract? So to do that, we're going to click on Add Item. In the description field, let's go ahead and type big one-time contract. And then in the amount field, we want to type 20,000. So click into that, type 20,000, and then go ahead and click on, oh, before we do that, you want to notice that you can create a money in and a money out transaction, and that you can set it to be one time or having it repeating. We're going to leave these settings as is because this is going to be a money in transaction, but just know that you have the opportunity to add in both and then adjust for one time or repeating. So now we can go ahead and click on the green save button. And let's go ahead and take a look at the graph. And of course, this would have a huge effect on the bank balance, as you can see from the graph here. Notice that currently QBO shows 0 as the threshold. The threshold is the number that the business owner really doesn't want to drop below. Of course, no one wants to drop below 0, but it's also good business practice to have a quote buffer in your account. Dropping below this number would indicate that you need to put in some more effort quickly to turn things around. Find out what would happen on the graph if you would set up a different threshold for Craig. So we're going to click on the small gear icon above cash balance. And notice that you can control which linked accounts are included in the planner by having both of those checked marked. Both of those checked, they are being included here, but if you only wanted to have checking, you could uncheck the savings, for instance. Let's go ahead and adjust the threshold. We're going to type 10,000 and we'll have that as our threshold here. And then we're going to click on the green save button. Now, as you can see, QBO has moved that threshold line so that it can help, so that you can set your targets. The colors do not change here. However, so you'll have to look carefully, excuse me. Now that Craig has the cash flow planner at his fingertips, perhaps he can use it to make better decisions and plan better for the future of his business. But that is it. That is how you would use the cash flow planner. Now, if you like this exercise and you'd like to do more like it, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. We have finished the November issue of the QBO Gym. Congratulations, you did a great job. Keep on practicing and be on the lookout for our December issue. And I will see you then.